So recently I had a mom come to me and mention that she thought she may have gluten intolerance. She told me she had a family member who had celiac disease, and she felt that her abdominal pain was related to this, and she wanted to remove gluten from her diet. So after talking with her in depth, we decided to remove all of the common allergens from her diet and then slowly reintroduce them back to see if some of the common allergens were causing some of her symptoms, not just the gluten. So she did find out, which totally mind-blowing, right? So she did find out what was causing her abdominal pain, and it was not gluten, right? What she thought it was. And she also had a completely different outlook on food in general, which is such a NSW, what we also like to call a non-scale win. Let's get started. Hey friend, welcome to Holistic Health for Moms. I'm your host, Jennifer. If you're like me, you've tried all the diets, followed every wellness trend, and still felt stuck, exhausted, and frustrated. In this podcast, you'll find simple, sustainable habits, faith-filled encouragement, and real-life strategies to help you balance your hormones, restore energy, and of course, feel your best again without the overwhelm. So raise your hand and say present and accounted for, and let's get this party started. Real quick before we get started, if you are ready to take control of your gut health and feel your best, grab my meal planning toolkit, where you will learn how to choose gut-friendly foods that nourish your body. And after this episode, you're going to know which foods trigger inflammation, disrupt your digestion, and the ones that negatively impact your well-being overall. So go ahead and go to jennifercoble.com/meal planning toolkits, where you can grab that meal planning toolkit and start today bettering your health and feeding your family better and being prepared on weeknights. So you can click in the show notes, in the link in the show notes, or you can go to jennifercoble.com/meal planning toolkit. So now let's get started with today's episode. It is about the top 5 foods that could be the hidden culprits to some of your health issues or some of your symptoms that you're not really quite sure about. So the first one we're going to talk about is gluten. That's a big one. Everybody likes to slap gluten-free on all of their products to make you think that it's healthy, right? So what is gluten exactly? Well, gluten is a protein that is found in grains like wheat, barley, and rye. And it's what gives bread its stretchiness, okay? You don't have to have celiac disease to have issues with gluten, okay? Just because you have issues with gluten does not mean you have celiac. Celiac is a very, very severe illness, can be. So that's not what we're talking about right now, okay? Some people's intestines cannot tolerate gluten, and it can cause the body to fight against this protein, okay, which the body perceives as a foreigner, which can cause inflammation. And some of these symptoms can be fatigue, abdominal pain, diarrhea, and then some of them can be stomach related issues like anxiety, brain fog, depression, bone and joint pain, rashes, and migraines. So it's not always the stomach that's going to give you issues if you have food intolerances, right? So remember the last episode where we talked about the gut-brain axis? Well, 70% of your immune system is in your gut. And if your body is constantly trying to fight against the food you're taking in, then how in the world would it be able to give you energy and mental clarity, right? It's working overtime. All right, second one is dairy. Dairy has both lactose and casein. Lactose is a sugar and casein is a protein. Both can be beneficial for one person. However, they could be harmful for another. So lactose in dairy can cause issues if you don't have enough lactase, which is the enzyme to break down the lactose in the small intestine. Not having enough lactase to break down the lactose can cause symptoms such as nausea, diarrhea, gas, bloating, abdominal pain, and even like esophageal reflux or like heartburn. And then a sensitivity to dairy can also cause skin issues or like flares in eczema. And then with the casein, you can also have a casein intolerance, and that's the body's response to being unable to process the protein casein. And when you have a reaction to this, it can be delayed up to 72 hours after consuming like a milk product, right? So, and that's known as a milk protein allergy. So that's also something to be aware of. Another one, which may be surprising, is corn. Corn contains a protein called, look, I'm going to butcher it because I butcher everything, but it's called zein that can cause a reaction in the body. And some of these symptoms can include hives, rashes, nausea, sneezing. They can cause you to have an asthma flare. So see, intolerances not only cause issues with the stomach, they can also cause issues with the lungs, and they can give you headaches. Corn can give you headaches. And then obviously severe reactions would be like anaphylactic reactions where the airway closes up. Number 4, eggs. Not sure if you have been eating eggs lately since prices have gone up a tad. Kudos to y'all that have your own chickens. I'm a little bit jealous, but eggs are a pretty common food, and they're really great to eat, health-wise. They're kind of like powerhouses. But again, what is good for one person is not necessarily good for everybody. And then an egg allergy can range from skin rashes, hives, nasal congestion, vomiting, or other GI-related issues. And they have also been shown to cause autoimmune reactions in people with autoimmune disease because of the albumin that are in the eggs. So, very interesting little tidbit that eggs can cause nasal congestion, because a lot of people may confuse their nasal congestion for like just, yearly allergies. And the last but not least is a pretty common one also, peanuts, which are not actually a nut, they're a legume, but peanuts contain lectins, and lectins can cause damage to the lining of the gut. When there's damage to the lining of the gut, it can cause intestinal permeability, which is also known as leaky gut. And this can lead to like a consistent, like low-grade inflammation, which can cause like the beginning stages of like autoimmune disorders or like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus. They can cause IBS type symptoms. So, and this is not even to like mention that just peanut butters in general are full of sugar. They're full of like inflammatory fats, and they have a lot of food additives and preservatives that are not really even necessary. So you can find peanut butter without sugar and without all of these things, but a lot of times it's a lot more expensive. And then when my kids look at it, they're like, "Oh, gross!" Kids are extra, but we're trying to slowly work it in to try new things. But anyway, because you stayed around for this super educational episode, I know this is a lot of information in a very small amount of time. But since you stayed around, I wanted to give you 5 additional foods and ingredients to avoid that can irritate the gut and exacerbate like your symptoms, okay? So first one is alcohol. Second is caffeine. Third is sodas, especially diet sodas, sugar-free products, and like gummy additives like guar, Arabic, and carrageenan. These can cause gut imbalances in the gut bacteria, which can lead to bloating and intestinal pain, intestinal permeability, bloating, gas. So try to avoid those additives if you can, because they can also cause issues with the gut. Okay? So again, thank you so much for listening. I hope that this has educated you in some way today, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. We're officially friends. You made it through the whole episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, since we're friends now and sharing is caring, would you share this episode with someone you know who is also interested in learning more about natural solutions for more energy and weight loss? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It makes my heart smile to know this podcast is helping you. Okay, friend, hope you have a wonderful day. Gotta get back to that mom life. I'll meet you back here next week on Monday for another episode. Bye.